Your Excellency, welcome to Kantipur News.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Very nice to be here.
So Nepal and Canada have shared 5 decades long of relationship. Where do you think this is going and how do you see the status as of now?
I would say that we are now at a new era of the relationship. When we look at some of the metrics across the board, people-to-people ties, if we look at trade, the numbers are not where they could be or where they should be. And the past year, we've seen significant growth in the relationship. I think our prime ministers met in September of last year on the margins of the UN General Assembly. And that, I think, was a really good launch point to take the relationship to new heights. There's a lot that's happened since then. So we signed an MOU, our prime minister signed an MOU that would entail bilateral consultations between our foreign ministries every 2 years. And the first meeting then took place in October. We've had a number of visits in between from embassy staff. In January, we held a workshop around the development of hydroelectricity. The Nepal Investment Summit last week, we had a delegation. There were some significant commercial announcements.
We've just concluded our second investment summit as well, and Canada, as you said, that it's the second biggest exporter of hydroelectricity. So are there anything that you would like to tell us that Nepal needs to learn from Canada to explore its own potential as well?
So Canada has significant capacity and technology and an ecosystem. Being the second largest producer and exporter of hydroelectricity in the world, we bring a lot to the table. So we have had informal discussions and consultations here, advisory work from Canadian companies such as Manitoba Hydro International. We have provided some insight into what could happen here. I think right now we see hydroelectricity as an area where Canada and Nepal could in fact collaborate for the development of power plants and projects here. So we're at the early stage in terms of exploratory ideas. We have a significant trade commissioner team at our embassy, and we have encouraged a fair bit of dialogue over the next several months to see what could happen. Even during the bilateral consultations, we did in fact discuss this as an area that could be a marquee area of opportunity. The fact that Canadian company Sky Power Global signed a deal with the Chaudhry Group here last week for a 600 megawatt solar power plant, I think is very significant. You take that, you take electricity, and you can see how Canada can be a significant player in the energy space here.
Now coming back to the Everest Base Camp trek that you've chosen to embark on, what made you choose Everest Base Camp out of all the other locations in Nepal?
It is very special for me to be able to highlight my time as ambassador by really immersing myself into something that is so inherent in Nepal's history, its culture, and to be able to interact with many people in very local, remote communities, I think will be very, very special. So why do it? Well, I think it's a way to separate myself from other countries in terms of Canada's commitment to Nepal. I'm doing it also because it is spectacular. Of course, very physically challenging, and that in itself will yield some rewards. We also want to highlight the fact that our commitment to the Nepal relationship is very significant and it's very long-term.